Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hosts Melanie Johnson and Jen Foster are the owners of Elite Online Publishing. They're both Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling authors. We're really glad you're here because this podcast was designed for you. Meet industry experts that share their secrets and strategies. Get successful results for your business in money, relationships, health, and your life. Each episode is going to inspire you to take action towards reaching your greatness.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another great podcast. I'm Melanie Johnson, along with Jenn Foster, my co-owner of Elite Online Publishing. Hey, Jen.
Hey, everyone. How's it going today?
We're doing great over here. And you know what? If you've ever wondered who does all the furniture in some of these music videos, movies on Netflix, who does, when you go to these conferences and you see these beautiful sets, who does that makes it look beautiful? Well, we have the inside scoop of who does that and how to make it look beautiful and what it takes to run a company like that does these displays all over the country and probably all over the world. So we have Neil Mirchandani with us today. He's been in this business since he was 15. Do you think he knows a little bit about it? So we're going to dive deep into what it takes to run a company like this, and you're going to learn a bunch today. Neil, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us, Neil, a little bit about your background and how you got into this industry.
Sure. So when I was 15, as you mentioned, I was a DJ for weddings. And so what I would do is I would just go out, I would DJ, provide the music, rent out the sound equipment, et cetera, for a lot of weddings. And all we did was over time, at that time it was a one-man show, a two-man show. Over time, my clients started asking if they could rent lighting from me. I said yes, bought some lighting, rented it to them. Basically what that did was it made a ticket of mine that was maybe $600 or $800 to close to $1,000 because I was renting another product to them. Later on, clients started asking if they could rent dance floors from me. I said yes, did that for a while. And then they ended up asking if they could rent furniture from me. And I knew nothing about it. But I went and bought one or two pieces of furniture, put it in the client's cocktail hour. And I realized over time, renting these products to these clients made me be subtracted from the picture somewhat, and increased the revenue and actually created a business out of it. So that's how everything formed into what it is today.
So it's really organic, like you just one thing led to another. But what I really love is someone asked you to do something like you had no idea about furniture. You probably didn't even know where to get a dance floor and you just figured it out. So many entrepreneurs get stuck. Oh my gosh, they want this. And then I don't know how to do it. So then they just don't offer it. No, I don't know how to do it. How have you scaled the business since then? Because not everybody can do that either. You seem like, you started out just renting dance floors and now you're doing Netflix movies and music videos. So how do you go about scaling without being lost in the weeds?
Well, scaling takes time. From the get-go, when you're doing larger physical products, you have no choice but to think beyond yourself. In my case, I can't go out and set up a 30-foot by 30-foot dance floor myself. I cannot go deliver 4 or 5 or 6 sofas by myself. So immediately I need to think beyond me. And so what happens is you hire one person, you hire 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, and over time that becomes a business. And so the reputation is what comes next, which is what's required to be able to attract clients, as you mentioned, such as Netflix and other celebrities in Atlanta or conferences and large Fortune 500 companies that might rent for that. But reputation takes time as well. So, I just stuck with it for a long time. And after sticking with it, it ends up coming. It takes time. And luckily I was patient throughout the process and I'm still patient today. So that's that's probably one of my strong suits. So I can run really, really fast on a day-to-day basis, but I understand that to get results, it's going to take time.
Yeah. What are your tips for building a team? Like you say you hired people and then you hired more and more. How do you build that culture? How do you build that, know that you have the right people on your team?
Yeah, that's a good question. It takes a while to really come up with that and go. I went through some failures along the way of doing that by hiring people who probably weren't the best fit for what I was doing, but I needed somebody. And that was in the beginning. In order to really do it and maintain the culture, for me, it was a process of trial and error. So I went and hired one person, and then I realized, okay, well, I need somebody to do cleaning of furniture. I need somebody to deliver furniture. And then when I created those processes and consulted with people who were smarter than myself and who knew what they were doing in this business, I was then able to hire the right people to do those jobs and try to empower them to do better at what they were doing. And really, the days that came when it wasn't one person doing 5 different jobs and it was an actual hire for doing that one specific task is when I started to see actual scale.
You know, in our business too, I love how you say processes and systems. When we started to really see exponential success in our book publishing businesses, when we started making processes for everything. And we ask ourselves that question all the time. Something comes up like, do we have a process for that? Have we documented that? And
Yeah.
I've got a son who's an entrepreneur, 22, and already has 4 businesses. I'm always asking him that question. He kind of poo-poos me. So tell me how important it is to create processes along the way. And how did you start doing that? And what is your system for creating processes?
Yeah, so I got to say, it's probably the most important thing, in my opinion, to create processes above anything else, above sales, above trying to do marketing. It's the most important thing. And the reason is because as you scale and you have more people, if you have no processes in place, chaos is just inevitable. And so you are hindering yourself from scaling if you don't put those processes in place. So that could be something so small as a closing procedure, an opening procedure, thing in between. So it's extremely important to me to have processes in place in order to get more employees, in order to actually scale. And it's the responsible thing to do, in my opinion, in order to actually grow. There's really no other way. When you have one person, you can get away with doing a lot of things. When you have up to 5, 6 people, you can get away with doing a lot of things. We now have 40 employees, and it's very difficult. I can't even imagine walking in and people not knowing what they're doing because there's just chaos everywhere. Everybody just comes in and does whatever they want. That's not going to work. So it is super important to do that. And actually, I would say that the business will actually started to grow in sales, and actually revenue just went up as we started to do that organically. It didn't even take selling anymore at that point. It just took understanding that those processes make all the difference in the world.
Well, tell us the story of your first music video that you rented furniture to, because I'm just curious, like, how did you network, or how did you get into that side of things? Because I can see renting for events and, pop up here, pop up there, but how did you get into the music video and other spaces?
Yeah, so I guess we're lucky in Atlanta. Atlanta is the Hollywood of the South. So originally, when I started this company and when we started doing events, I didn't think that we weren't even marketing to go out and do film or music videos, as you mentioned. But one of the first music video that we did that I know of is a music video that's on YouTube right now with the artist Drake and Future. And the music video is called Life is Good. And we didn't really get contacted by the artist. We get contacted by the agency who was working with that artist to rent a dance floor, they were trying to stage a scene from an Apple store, and they rented those products from us. And surprisingly, those events, that music video gets booked last minute. So we get a call at 7:00 in the morning, and this needs to be executed by 11 a.m. because they're in the middle of a shoot. So how they found us is probably through a referral, and it's probably through a referral of another agency that we worked with. And that's probably the same for any of the clients that we work with now. Most of it is all referral based. So as I said, we weren't really chasing after that client, but it kind of comes over time just based on where we are, where our geography is in Atlanta, and that's where a lot of film and that's where a lot of music videos and things like that take place. So there's only a handful of companies who are going to carry the inventory that we carry. And I feel like we're one of very few who are going to be able to execute it in that time frame and execute it properly in that time frame. And so that's probably why we were able to do that.
I like that story. So really, it's the strategic partnerships that you had created that then people refer you all the time. So I think that's a great way to get business, instead of just going out and trying to find sales all the time, is actually finding out who those strategic partners are.
100%.
So it sounds like you don't do a lot of marketing, really. Do you have a marketing strategy, or is it mostly time into referrals?
Yeah, we certainly do we do market. I mean, we have to stay relevant, but
Mhm.
it's actually a challenge for us to market because we're really, over time, we learned that we're really more in the wholesale business than in the retail business. So we have to be very careful. We can't be out there and really loud about what we're doing based on the number of NDAs we need to sign, based on an agency hiring us and maybe wanting to take credit for the product that is actually supplied. And so over time, we as a team realized that we are really not in the retail business to the end client. We are really in the wholesale business to the agency or to the art director of the movie set, all those people. And so once we realized we need to take a step back from actually marketing to the end client. So it's probably one of our biggest challenges today is being able to actually get our name out there and keep our name out there and keep it relevant beyond referrals, because we can't be out there setting up trade shows and going out and marketing a ton online, because we're not really able to do that when our client doesn't want to see that we are advertising to their client.
Yeah. So you're not like, doing TikTok videos or social media necessarily. You've got to have a whole different strategy.
Correct. Yep. That is true. We can't be out there on social media just blasting and putting things out there. We do have a social media presence and we want to keep that relevant, but we know who is looking at our social media. So we have to be able to cater to those posts accordingly and everything accordingly.
So do you do like an email campaign to keep in contact with these people, or what are you doing to stay in contact with the businesses that are doing business with you?
Yeah, we do email campaigns. We don't do them like, a ton. We do them sporadically. And then we are very careful with, for instance, when we bring in new inventory, we are very careful about personally going to the salespeople within our organization, and they are going out and actually letting their clientele know. So our marketing is very personal. And that doesn't mean that we have a small set of clients that are ordering from us and they make up 80% of our revenue or anything. It's more that we are branching out to those people on a more personal level. And then whatever is on our website is what markets to the masses out there. So we just leave that organic, and then we have our personal salespeople actually market out to their specific clientele.
That makes sense. Well, tell us, how did you scale, or what was the very first storage facility you had for your furniture? Because right now you're up to 70,000 square feet, which sounds huge to me. So was it just a truck, or what did you start with?
Started in a garage, and then it went from a 2-car garage to about 600 square feet. Then it went from 600 square feet to 10,000, then to 20,000, and now we're in 70. We're basically grown out of 70, and we are now looking around for about 150,000 square feet, or maybe adding on to our current facility right now. That grows over time. So it's not something that I would say that took, from the first warehouse space that we ever did, it probably took about 10 to 11 years to get to where we are. So it's a slow growth model, but luckily I was patient throughout the process to be able to see it get there.
And then how did you get the financing for that? Because sometimes people get stuck. Did you have to raise seed money, or what did you do to finance everything? And, buying the furniture too.
Yeah, so I reinvested every dollar I possibly could back into the business. And now we have a percentage that we have to reinvest. It's just kind of calculated as a percentage of the business. But throughout the process, we had to take loans, we had to reinvest and reinvest and reinvest. So I would say that I didn't take a dollar out of the business probably for the first 7 years. And it was a grind, and it was just constant reinvestment. I mean, I can't express that enough. It was just constant.
I like that. Just hustle and get it done, right?
Got to keep getting it done. It's the only way to go forward.
Yeah. I thought my son's business partner in this venture that they have, their house has become like a combine, and he's sleeping on the floor even when there's a bed available. He's like, nope, I'm sleeping on the floor until we're getting where I want to get financially with this, get it off the ground.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And you know what? Even today in our business, I still don't feel like, you could only live without taking money out of the business for so long. But the reality is that I still don't feel like we've even reached close to our potential. There is just so much potential in our business. And it takes a while to get out of the mindset that you can't start extracting money from the business, but I still feel it today. I still feel like when we first started today.
Yeah. And that's a mindset. So let's talk about that real briefly, is how do you keep that mindset to continue to growth and be excited about your business, even when you have those pitfalls? Because I'm sure it wasn't all roses the whole way.
No, it wasn't, and it's not roses even till today, right? So there's always going to be hiccups. But in my world, the way I see it is that, you know, I thrive on the stress and I thrive on the last minute of the business. And I think everybody here, because of that, it's just created this culture of everybody thriving on that. And so I get excited knowing that I can come into work in the morning and there might be 0 on our schedule, but by 10 a.m., we've gotten a call from a TV show, or we've gotten a call from UPS or Home Depot or some large company to go do a huge furniture set, and it has to be done that day. And so I can't help but get excited about that, because it's the unknown that excites me. And I know that I could either gauge my mind to say I should be scared about that because it's very last minute, or I could be excited about it. And I think just over time, I've just been excited about that, because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just like an adventure mindset. What is today going to bring me that's going to be amazing, right?
Yep, absolutely. And I think now that's what, as I said, like everybody here thrives on that now. And I think in order to be in the event industry, you probably need to thrive on that. Otherwise, you're going to just be really sad all day, and you're just going to be scared all the time because you just don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
But you never know. Like you say, you get a new client that's so exciting, or something happened that you never imagined, and it changes everything in one day of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything can happen.
100%.
We had someone who signed with us during a podcast one time that was and just met us on the podcast and said, oh yeah, send me a proposal. And she signed it right there while we were still on the podcast with her. I was like, okay, that's amazing. Like, you never expect something like that. So those are the things, like you say, are
really cool.
That, you know,
that is exciting. Yep. That's awesome.
Do you only do events and movies and that sort of thing? Or do you also do real estate, like staging?
You know, we don't do real estate staging, and it's a field I have thought about getting into, but have not yet, just because we haven't gotten our head wrapped around all of what we're doing in the event space. I feel like we're still in the infant stages of getting into the event space, meaning in the film side. I feel like we're still in the infant stages of that. And so I am one who likes to expand, but I want to expand responsibly. So when we get into home staging, I know it's going to build, or it's going to have some other issues attached to it. That's okay. It's a learning curve, but I can't delve my attention into that without really getting done what we need to get done in the event space and assigning the proper people to handle that. But it is a space that I want to get into.
Yeah, I would think that it would be totally different pieces and totally different furniture. So what would you say your number one rental is? Like, what's like the top, like hot thing that everyone wants when they call you? Like, is there a specific item or specific furniture that everyone wants? Or is there something new or exciting that's like technical, like the light boxes or anything like that?
It goes in cycles for us. So there, you know, what's popular for 6 months might not be popular 6 months from now. For right now, I would say that our most popular pieces, if somebody calls up, the most popular color is emerald green. And so a lot of people rent emerald furniture with gold accents to it. That could change in 6 months, and it will. But for right now, that's really what is popular, and that's what's trending. What I noticed, it's interesting you asked about home staging. What I noticed in our industry is the trends start in home. So whatever's going on in the home, typically between 6 to 8 months later, it catches, and that becomes a new popular thing in the event industry. So it's almost become my cheat sheet. And so in homes, what took place during COVID is everybody was remodeling. And what was the trend? The trend was farmhouse modern. And that was going for all year. And it just took 6 months to 8 months after that. And that's what came in the event industry. And that's what everybody wanted. And so I don't know why that is. I'm still studying as to why everything is catching up from there. But that's why all these gold tones came back in homes, and gold tones came into the event industry. Now silver tones are coming back. That's 6 months out in the event industry.
A lot of mixed metals out there too as a trend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's true. It is.
And yeah, there's a company out here in Utah called McGee and Company. They have a Netflix show about home makeover, and she's all about the modern and some farmhouse, but that modern classic and
Yes.
the gold's back and all that.
I've heard of that show.
so
People have
popular.
referenced that show when they've called us.
Yeah, they're like, can we want it like McGee and Co?
Yeah.
That's really hot right now. What should someone, if they're doing an event, right, convention or something like that, like we've done one, and well, the first time we ever did it, we were lost. We're not sure what we want. Can you guide us? Or so what kind of questions should someone be asking, and what should they bring to the table that helps you make it a beautiful experience for them and their booth look great?
Yeah, I think it depends on the event, but if you're doing a conference, I mean, the best example is something like a conference. I would just want to know how many people they're expecting and what specifically they want from us. Are they looking for furniture for their VIPs? Are they looking for furniture just for a front row? If they have those answers figured out, it's all good. We can figure out the rest for them. The last thing that I would ask for is just finding out what their company colors are, whatever they're trying to brand, and we can knock that out. So every company is who calls us. I mean, Home Depot, as I mentioned before, UPS or Coca-Cola is based over here. Any of these companies who call up have company colors. We want to respect those colors. So if we know what those are, we can take care of it pretty quickly. So we stock right now, we stock a lot of blues, navy blues and reds. We stock a lot of navy blues and reds because Delta is a big client of ours. And we know that they come back to us for those same colors all the time, whether that be pillows or that be linens, it doesn't matter. They're going to want those colors. And based on their history and their logo, that's probably not going to change. So if we know that, and we know how many people they're expecting, and we know what they're trying to accomplish as far as seating, we can take care of the rest.
I like that. So what kind of things in tech have you found that are new, or like, do people want like the lights that change color, or is there any cool things in tech that are always being asked for in your events?
Yeah, I would say the number one thing technology wise are charging stations. So people always want something to charge a mobile device in furniture. So that is it's been growing since the BlackBerry was around. So it's been happening for a long time, and it's stuck and it continues to grow. So charging stations are very big. Anything with visuals is big. So people like things that build in televisions, things like that can display. So anything like that, people like. And you mentioned LED lighting. There is a lot. Every piece, there's so many pieces that we carry that require lighting, and people love it. People love it.
That's great. Well, tell us where we can reach out to you, Neil, and where people can find you.
Sure. So everybody can find us on social media at Luxury Lounge ATL, as well as our website, which is updated daily, luxuryloungeatl.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show today. We'll put that up in the show notes, and people can click and go to your website from there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Terrific. So that's it for our show today. Remember, if you're looking to write a book, become an author, reach out to us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. We do Wall Street Journal and international bestsellers. We guarantee it. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.